Hello guys and welcome to the channel. Welcome to another Friday or by the time I upload this, it'll be Saturday. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to touch base on Mechwarrior Online. And we haven't touched base on this in quite a while. So there's something I would like to go over. I would like to go over a mech pack if I could. It's a very interesting mech pack to say the least. Let me see if I can pull the store up and show you guys what mech pack I'm talking about. Let's see. Come on. Where is the store bundles? How do we get to the store? Maybe we'll just do this. Okay, now we're gonna get to the store. I want to show you guys a mech pack, a specific mech pack. I would like to show you guys. I believe we already went over the Wolf Dragoons pack. I originally went. I think if you guys want to comment down below, and I will go over the Wolf Dragoons mech pack and the story behind it. I have that mech pack. I show you guys what the mechs look like. Okay, this one, Otimo pack. It comes with one mech pack with 6 mechs, plus the mech bays, 7 bolt-ons, 1 decal, and 8 skins for the mechs. It's available for purchase right now through the store. I'm going to show you what the mech pack looks like in this video. I have the mech pack already set up, so you guys don't have to watch me set the whole thing up. Because when you receive the mech pack, you get the mechs and everything else to put in it. Well, what I did was I set everything up the way it should be, the way it's supposed to look, including the add-ons. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's get you out of the way, please. Thank you. Now, finding them in my inventory is hard enough. I don't believe there's any lights. And there's also no mediums. Okay, now we're starting off with the heavies. First off, the first mech they'll give you is a catapult. Now this is not your normal average everyday catapult. Catapults usually have missiles on the shoulders. This catapult, in a way, is slightly different. Because this catapult actually has ERPPCs on the shoulders, mounted on the shoulders, which is impressive in its own right. Having ERPPCs mounted on your shoulders is very impressive. So, we're going to get more detailed right now. Dual ERPPCs, dual medium X-pulse lasers, laser AMS, 8 double heat sinks. I added an advanced sensor package to it just in case. It comes with the standard 260 engine. I added the endo steel to add more armor to it. You can further add more armor as you see fit. If you need more in the shoulders or the arms, you can. Although, now don't forget, those ERPPCs on catapults are normally where the missiles would go. Those are your arms. Even though you don't have arms, the catapult has what looks like shoulder-mounted weapons on there. Those are your arms. Okay? So if you don't want the things on your shoulders destroyed, armor up your arms. Big time. Okay, anything that has ammunition in it, make sure you have more armor in it. Okay? Make sure the head has armor. Make sure the torso has an adept amount of armor. Make sure it's decent enough. Okay. Now, my AMS is laser based. There's no ammunition. So I don't have to worry about, I do not have to worry about having a case. The only thing I might have to worry about having a case is in the torso and the head, which I don't think you can put a case in here. No, you can't. What I will do is I will put a case in here. Because if anything from here on blows, don't forget, if anything from your right side explodes, it might damage your head and your torso. It could. If you put a case in here and in here, you won't have to worry about this getting damaged from splash damage. So it helps to have a case. It helps to have the torso's case protected, because that in turn protects your head and your torso. Head and torso does not need a case unless you're stupid enough to put ammunition in the head and the torso. You do not ever put ammunition in your head or in your torso, ever. I don't care how desperate you are for space, never put it in there. Try to put ammunition in your torsos or your arms. You could put it in your legs, but if you put it in your legs, I highly recommend a case going in your legs, because, again, an explosion could radiate to other parts of the mech. So, you do not know how the mech is situated. If it has short legs, the explosion could radiate to the rest of the body. Knowing that, when you do get this mech pack, make sure you put cases in the torsos. First thing you do, advanced sensor package, cases in the torsos, X-pulse lasers, put ERPPCs instead of regular PPCs, endo steel structure, Save it. And your laser catapult is ready to go. This is how it should look. Just to be safe, this is how it should look. This gives you enough power to make the lives a living hell. But at the same time, it gives you enough protection where you're not going to die every 5 seconds. Don't forget, check your armor. Make sure your armor is sufficient. Make sure your armor is good enough to protect yourself, because honestly, it does happen. People just situate the Mechwarrior where they want to, and totally forget about the armor, which is a common occurrence. So keep in mind, with this mech, you can put ballistics in here if you want to. See? There are ballistic hard points located in the torsos. You can put ballistics in here. If you put ballistics in here, there's no way you could put this many heat sinks in it, because then all the room has to be spent for ammunition. So you kind of have to decide whether you want lasers or ballistics. I've seen assaults use both in the past. And now I'm not saying you can't. It's safer if you put one or the other, because heat sinks are your most important ally for your lasers. Especially if you're going to have an AMS, make sure you have a laser AMS if you have a buttload of heat sinks like I do. I have a lot of heat sinks here. So it would be to my benefit to have a laser AMS to match it. If you're going to put as much heat sinks as I have, then make sure you have a laser AMS to match. It's always a good idea to overload the double heat sinks just in case, because you don't want any chance of overheating. Now, there's skills that you can add to further help your overheating. Now, you can add skills to reduce the amount of heat that your weapon will generate. First, we'll start the firepower category. First, cooldown. Cooldown reduces the duration. It reduces the duration of all ballistic, energy, and missile weaponry. This increases the range of energy weapons. In other words, the weapons will fire for longer distances. Okay? Heat generation. Heat generation reduces the heat generated by ballistic, energy, and missile weaponry. Yes, ballistic weapons do generate heat, for your information. They do generate heat. Not a lot, but they do generate some heat. So you have to make sure you have some cooling when you have all ballistics. It just so happens that laser weapons generate the most heat. Why? Because they do not fire ammunition. Now, we're up to the velocity category. Velocity says increases the velocity of all ballistic, missile, and PPC weaponry. Now, don't forget, lasers are just firing lasers. A PPC is firing a condensed ball of energy. It's launching an energy ball out the barrel. A PPC weaponry is launching a so-called energy ammunition out its barrel. That's what PPC is. So technically, it is an ammunition. So, because PPC is considered an ammunition, as you can tell, my brain's almost not functional, but it's okay. We'll get through this little by little. Because PPC is considered an ammunition, it is you can use velocity to make the PPC travel faster out of the barrel of the gun. Thermal cycling increases the rate at which heat dissipates. In other words, when you fire a laser, a simple laser, okay, and you stop firing that laser, it increases, thermal cycling increases the rate where the heat goes down. So, the more thermal cycling you have, the faster the heat will reduce. Got me so far? The heat will reduce faster the more thermal cycling you have. So, right off the bat, the first skill you add, regardless, you add 1, 2. Those are the first 2 skills you add on any mech. Thermal cycling. Both of them. Okay? Depending on what mech you have, you could add velocity. Heat generation. Try to at least get half if you can. Try to at least get half. Try to at least gather half. If you could. Range. Try to at least get at least half with range. Cooldown, at least half. At least. Laser duration. These are only good if you're using ordinary lasers, like, for example, medium laser, ER medium laser, okay? Those 2 lasers actually are affected by laser duration. Now, if you're using a repeating laser, like like the pulse lasers, laser duration does not work, period. Only the lasers that stay out, like the medium lasers, small lasers, and large lasers, are affected by laser duration. Now we're getting into the ballistic weapons. We have magazine capacity. Magazine capacity provides extra ammunition per ton equipped for ballistic weaponry, which means that it will increase the ammo capacity of most, if all, of ballistic weaponry. Of course, it lists all the weaponry. To my right, it lists all the weaponry right there. Of course, if this bitch was out of the way, you'd be able to see it. There you go. Now you can see it. As you can see, it has quite a bit. Depending on what tickles your fancy, it will increase it. Sometimes it will increase it by +1. Sometimes it will increase it by +2. Sometimes it will increase it by +10. Sometimes by +200. Sometimes by +250. It depends on what weaponry you have out and what weaponry you want to use. Again, check the skill for details on the ballistic weapon you want to use to see how much more ammo it will give you. Magazine capacity gives you an extra bonus to ammunition. Now, if you get both of them, that's ×2. So if it says, for example, if you get one, you get 10 extra AC2 shots. If you have 2 magazine capacities, you get 20 AC2 shots. You with me so far? You get 20 bonus AC2 shots. That's how magazine capacity works. Now, LBX spread. When you fire an LBX ammunition, usually they're called LBX ACs, okay? LBX autocannons fire weapons in, like it says, AC2, AC3. AC2 fires weapons straight forward, and like AC2 will fire 2 shots together in a straight line. An LBX AC will fire 2 shots and they'll spread out. Kind of like a shotgun does. A shotgun will spread the shots. Now, if you want the shots to spread more, increase this number, will spread the shots out more. So you can have an AC2 and an LBX AC2 if you have more than one person you want to try and hit. You get me so far? That is the difference. That is the big difference between an AC2 and an LBX AC2. An AC2 is a rifle. An LBX AC2 is a shotgun. That's basically what it is. Alright. Gauss rifle. A Gauss rifle and a railgun. The difference between a Gauss rifle and a railgun: a Gauss rifle fires 1 shot at a certain speed. A railgun fires a shot based off of how long you charge that shot. For example, if you sit there for a minute and a half and charge that shot, then fire, it will do 10 times the amount of damage that a normal shot would. But if you just fire it after one second, it will do minimum damage. A railgun only deals damage based off of how long you let the shot charge. A railgun thrusts a shell at a certain velocity. Railguns can be very useful, and Gauss rifles can be very useful because the shots are quick. They're 10 times quicker than AC2s or LBX AC2s. A fully charged railgun is quicker than a laser. To give you a brief idea, that's insanity. Think of it that way. And a laser is almost instantaneous. A fully charged railgun can fire just as fast. The only difference is a laser push fire. A railgun hold, charge, then fire. All you have to do is hold, charge, play. When the moment arises, let it go. That's how you play a railgun. You do not charge when you're on fire. You have to charge it and hold that charge until you're ready to fire it. When you're ready to fire it, let the button go and off it goes. That's how you play railguns. You play railguns just like that, they will take people down in one shot. That's all it takes is one shot from a railgun and they're toast. That's it. If that railgun shot hits, kiss their ass goodbye. Done. But railguns are very, very difficult to play. You have to really get used to them. You have to play them. You have to play the crap out of them in order to get used to them. It's very, very hard. Anything in the survival category is meant to keep the mech alive longer. Skeletal density increases the mech's structure. Example, if you have a normal structure, it will further increase that normal structure and increase the structure points. If you have an endosteel structure, it will increase the endosteel structure even further. Armor hardening increases the mech's armor points, therefore giving you more armor points to back yourself up. Again, without going into the it allows you to add more armor to the mech in general without having to go into the mech lab and adjust the numbers. What I suggest is armor hardening in full, and make sure you check your mech lab to make sure each piece that you want protected is fully protected. Reinforced casing. This reduces the chance of critical hits. So if you have an area that does not have a casing in it and you want it protected, if you did not equip cases to any of your mechs, any of your locations, make sure you have reinforced casing up to max. If you have cases in your mech, then you do not need reinforced casing, because critical hits are not likely to happen if you have a case on that section. Just to let you know. So you could save these points as long as you put cases on your whole mech. So, overheat damage. Overheating damage reduces the damage taken to internals by overheating. Now, when you overheat, okay, the mech overheats. This is overheating. Shut down. And shuts down. Now, what you might know, okay, I'm going to push it. That's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. What you don't know is, every time your mech is forced to shut down, you take a minimum damage to your mech. Your mech takes damage. If you do not have cases or reinforced casing, then your ammunition will start to heat up. Everything will start to get weak. Your armor will get weak and will start to lose armor points little by little. Every time you overheat, you lose armor points. Very slowly. 1 point at a time per overheat. Not a lot, but it's enough to make sure that you have this at max. Because if you don't, it's your own fault. Take it from somebody who's been playing this game for quite a long time. We have the mobility category. Mobility category is self-explanatory. If your mech is not that mobile, make sure all this is checked off. If your mech moves slow as ass, make sure all this is checked off to make sure you can move a little faster. If you have excellent speed, I recommend, if you have a light mech and you have excellent speed, I recommend light mechs only use hard brake, anchor turn, and that's it. Light mechs use hard brake and anchor turn. Medium, heavy mechs, make sure kinetic burst and speed tweak are maxed. Torso yaw speed, torso yaw, and torso pitch are at max if you're medium or heavy. Now jump jets. Jump jets are only for mechs with jump jets. If you equipped jump jets onto your mech, max out everything in this category. Whether you like it or not, max it. Because you are going to need all the help you can get. The only catch is, whether you have jump jets or not, it comes in handy to add shock absorbance. What shock absorbance is, shock absorbance allows you to take less damage if you fall off a cliff. For example, you're on a level and there's an enemy that's walking below you, right? And you do not have jump jets so you can get down there safely. So you just simply fall off the cliff and chase them down. What you don't know is that your legs took a tremendous amount of damage by falling off that cliff. Now, if you maxed your shock absorbance, if you had maxed this out, you would take 30% less damage by falling. If you just max this out, you would take 30% less damage by simply falling off the cliff. Every time you launch yourself off a cliff, you take damage to your legs. And eventually your legs will break. And it's easy enough for people to target your legs. Why make it easier for people to do that? So, it's stupid. Why would you make things easier for people? Why? It makes no sense. Quick ignition. The only time you would use quick ignition is if you start and stop your mech often. Starting a mech and stopping a mech takes a long time. It takes quite a while to start a mech up. You have to go through a procedure. And you can speed that procedure up just to get going by just maxing this out right here. Now, if you need any further cooling, max this out completely. This will help tremendously. If you're finding yourself with a lot of screen shake during the game, improve gyros. And max this out and you'll get less screen shake while you're playing. The screen shake is caused by the gyros, by the gyroscopics in your mech. The mech not centering itself at all times. If the mech doesn't center itself, it gets off kilter. In other words, it tilts like this. If it has improved gyros, the mech will stay straight at all times. So, if you're finding the mech doing this or this, improved gyros will help. Now, speed retention. Speed retention is very handy. Have you ever tried going up a hill? Okay? What happens to your speed when you go up a hill? The speed goes from here to here when you go up the hill, right? Am I correct? The speed reduces due to the fact that the engine is straining to get up the hill. So how do you solve that problem? It's very easy. Speed retention reduces the speed after being legged and also reduces wait, hold on. Let me redo this. Speed retention is if somebody destroys one leg, okay, only one leg out of the two, that means you've been legged. When you've been legged, it reduces your speed by a significant amount. Speed retention increases your speed and it caps your speed at 50 kilometers an hour automatically if you're legged, if you max this out. That's if you're legged. Now, hill climb reduces the deceleration rate of the slowdown when navigating high slopes. So, if you're climbing a hill, instead of reducing your speed by 15%, it increases your speed by 15% every time you climb a hill. So, therefore, it will be as close to the real thing as possible. If you max the skill out completely, it will get you a 30% boost to speed when you're climbing hills. Now we're moving on to some of the cooling functions. We have cool run and heat containment. Both of these work with your heat sinks, depending on what heat sinks you have in. Cool run increases the amount of heat that dissipates out of the mech. So if heat dissipates out of the mech, the heat sinks don't have to work as hard, therefore keeping your mech cooler. So it would be to your benefit to always keep this at max, always. Now, heat containment increases the maximum threshold before a mech decides to shut down. Now, if you max this out completely, you run a very high risk of the mech exploding. Just know this. Heat containment, people like to push the envelope. People like to keep running. If the mech cannot do it, it's too hot, either cool it down, find a way to cool it down, or shut it down. That's it. Power it down. Find a way to shut it down, or let it shut itself down. Do not push the envelope with heat containment. Leave it at level 2 at all times. Do not push it farther than level 2. Never activate these, ever in your lifetime. You're pushing the envelope too far. Do not push it. Leave these alone. You got me? Sensors category. Sensors category is only good if you have advanced sensors. If you have advanced sensors equipped, or if you have a targeting system equipped, advanced sensors will work. Now, advanced sensors uses seismic sensors, okay? Targeting info gathering is used by the targeting computers, okay? Just so you know. Target decay increases the amount of time a mech is trackable when it leaves line of sight. For example, if you're playing a missile boat, you want to have very high target decay, because if they go behind a hill, it will take them longer to disappear if you increase the target decay. Just a little trick. Target retention allows retention of target information when the enemy moves behind the piloted mech. Now, this is self-explanatory. I hope I really don't have to explain, because that's pretty much what it says. Advanced zoom. Now, advanced zoom is if you push the letter Z, the Z key, okay? Z on your keyboard. A picture-in-picture pops up in your screen. I will show you what that looks like in a minute. If you enable this, you get the advanced zoom function, okay? Now, capture assist. This increases the rate of capture. In other words, if you're using a missile launcher and you're struggling to get that target, make sure this is at max. This way that wheel will go slow, that wheel will go faster. Instead of having to constantly search for a target or search for a lock, it will get that lock quicker by increasing the capture assist. We have a laser mech, so capture assist does not work for us, so we're going to make sure that stays off. This is only if you use consumables. If you use consumables, these come in handy. I don't use consumables. Some people do, and it is very handy. These are for narcs only. If you use narcs, these are really handy. I recommend you use these if only if you use narcs. Okay, guys, that's a little something on the skills category. I never ever went over this. I figured it might come in handy. Some tips and tricks here and there. Now, when you're setting your mech up, make sure, depending on what your mouse situation looks like, that's what number you use. For example, if you have a normal, average, everyday mouse, which is 2 buttons on the mouse, you should only use 1 and 2. I have a 6-button mouse. I have 6 buttons on my mouse. So I can set up to 6 categories. I can set up to 6 categories if I want to. I have 6 buttons on my mouse. So I can set up to 6. A normal, average, everyday person has a 2-button mouse, which means you should only be using category 1 and category 2. This is the first mouse button, left mouse button. This is the right mouse button. Okay? If I push the right mouse button, the 2 ERPPCs will fire. If I push the left mouse button, 2 medium X pulse lasers will fire. That's where I have it set. Now, this setup is really good for a normal, average, everyday person that only has a normal mouse. You should only be using 1 and 2. That's it. Only 1 and 2. If you're a psycho like me that has a 6-button mouse, you can go all out and use all 6 if you want to. So, I mean, why anybody would want to do that is beyond me, but if you feel like you're doing that, that's all fun and good. Go nuts. What I've seen people do is, I've seen people fire individual weapons and have the last 2 as last one is all alpha strike. Every weapon you own, fire it all in one shot and shuts you down instantly. Alpha strikes are pretty much insta kills if you really think about it. So, if you really think about it, alpha strikes are considered insta kills. So, okay. Now we have this is what the catapult looks like from the Otimo collection. It comes, these are bolt-ons that you add on to it. Let me show you what it comes with. If you purchase the Otimo collection, it will give you the mechs, and it will give you those 2 pieces right there. It will give you these 2 pieces right here for the catapult. And it will give you this pattern for your catapult. And it will give you a catapult. Now, moving on to the dragon. The dragon. I have my dragon set up. I took the time to set up my dragon the way I like it. So the way you're seeing it right now is not the way it was set up from the factory. I changed it significantly. So this is the way I like to play my mechs. Call me nuts, call me crazy, but this is the way I like to play my dragon. This is the way I like it. So your version might be different, and that's all fun and good. So I'm not going to go nuts with any of this stuff because this is not stock. So because this is not stock, I'm not going to go crazy. So this is pretty much the way I have mine set up. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Camo specs. They give you the Otimo dragon. They give you the skin you see right here. And they give you a mask. The mask, the bolt-on mask, are these teeth right here. See those teeth right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As soon as you put this on, right here, these 6 teeth end up right there. And right there. And right there. The dragon's pretty self-explanatory. It's really simple. Now you have the Battle Master. Again, this is also part of the Otimo collection. The Battle Master is a pretty formidable mech. Again, this mech I completely redid. So the setup you see right here is not the way it comes. It comes with whatever hard points you see right here. Whatever you see up here, it comes with. Okay, whatever you see here, the hard points it comes with. Okay, guys, the setup you're seeing right now is not stock. This is not stock by all means. I completely redid this entire thing, including endo steel. I redid the entire thing. I redid it the way I wanted it done. So again, you can tell I did it because I have cases in the torsos, just like I said before. I seem to like putting cases in the torsos because it protects this area right here. Okay, moving on to the camo specs. Again, it comes with a one bolt on you put on. Now, what bolt on do you say they put on? They give you this one right here. This goes on the back of this bolt on, gets installed right to the back right here. So basically they give you this thing that goes right on the back. Not bad. It goes with the theme. So moving on to the charger. Now, charger's pretty simple. This one has a loadout. As you can see right here, this is also not stock, but you can tell a brief idea on what the loadout capacity is by what I have out right now and what's left over, of course. This has room for 1 AMS, which I didn't put out. This has room for 1 more laser. Okay? This is maxed out, and this is maxed out. That gives you an idea on the way this mech is situated. So, moving on to the camo specs. Again, the Cyclops does not, the Charger does not come with these. This is a bolt-on that's given to you from the Otimo collection. Install the horns, and these will pop right on. They give you this style you see right here, okay, and these horns right here. They also give you, when you put these horns on, these come on as well. So this includes 1, 2, 3, 4 right out the mech. It's, again, bolt-ons are just for show. They don't do anything. They're just for show. They look nice. But they really make the mech. They really do. They really make it look nice. Now, the Mono Chi is different. The Mono Chi does come with horns. Oddly enough, it does actually come with horns. This particular Mono Chi, its layout is different. Again, I jacked.
You think you know me?
Excuse me, I have a phone call.
You think you know me?
Excuse me, I have a phone call.
You know me?
Forget about it. Alright guys, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap up this video pretty soon. Alright guys, we're gonna wrap this video up because I'm getting phone calls like crazy. I'm gonna start getting bothered soon, so we're going to continue this we're going to continue this conversation another time. Join us next time. Like, subscribe to the channel. Like, subscribe to this channel if you like these videos, and please stay tuned for another video. I will be continuing this collection little by little, piece by piece. Okay guys, so stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day.